What's up, guys? Mason the Brock Henderson here, and this is Bull Season 1, Episode 21, How to Dodge a Bullet. So, it's a fairly interesting case, mainly because it's finally talking about Benny and everything he's been going through this season. So, we start off with, of course, Benny getting arrested because there wouldn't be really much of a show or an episode if Benny weren't arrested and had to go to trial, because that's kind of the point of this show, is trial science. But we see apparently he's being charged not with obstruction of justice like they originally thought, but tampering of evidence, forging evidence pretty much. And so Bull contacts a woman named JP, who apparently is supposed to be really, really good with handling the Defense Department. And so they try to find out what they can do. She gets Benny a plea deal, but he has to apologize for what he did, make a public apology, saying that he's the one that tampered with the evidence, pretty much to save their hides. And of course Benny's like, no way. So they take it to trial, and they go through some of the trial stuff. They work with her, try to see what she does, and honestly, seeing her work is fairly interesting. We get to see kind of a different type of defense attorney than we've seen throughout most of the season, because she's just very good at manipulating her story, even though at times it sounded like, oh, she's trying to, it sounds like she's setting up Benny, but then all of a sudden she turns it around to make it seem like he's just a cog, he's just a part of this, he's not actually the one behind it, he's just being manipulated, and he's making him seem more of a human than the jury was seeing him at the beginning of the trial. So I don't know, it was a different type of defense attorney than they worked with all year. She was very conniving, very good at choosing her words carefully, and I don't know, that is very different, because most of the time it's Bull kind of choosing the words for the defense attorney. This time it was the defense attorney doing her own work, and Bull kind of reading the results of what she was doing. So ultimately they find out that they can't really convince the jury wholly unless they give them somebody who actually did it. So ultimately she learns that the guy that was giving her the information, the general attorney, I can't remember who he was, but he was the one that was kind of in charge of the case and was working closely with Benny at the time. Apparently, he was really upset with how the case was handled, because the guy confessed, but the detective who was in charge of his interrogation apparently got baited into manipulating him. And so even though he told them where everybody was because he wanted to tell them, he did it under duress, because he kind of convinced the detective to punch him and not feed him and all that. And so ultimately none of that even mattered. So they managed to find the bodies but couldn't connect it at all. Well, this guy went out and found a contact lens, and so he tried to get it off her eye using a glove, but it wouldn't work. So he realized he had to use his actual finger, put it in the suspect's apartment, and that's when Benny went in and found it himself. They managed to match enough of the fingerprint. At the time, it was less markers needed, and so it was enough of a match to convict this guy. But when they redid the testing, it wasn't enough to match. And then they did the testing against this guy's fingerprints and realized he's the one that set it up. So Benny ultimately is innocent. On top of that, the attorney asked Bull to do 3 cases for her, so I'm guessing there are only 2 episodes left, so I'm guessing one of these 2 episodes is going to be a case done for her. But what I really hope happens is on the final episode, I hope they come back to this case, because frankly, as it stands, Benny even said it, as it stands, that piece of evidence was forged. And so the fact that it was forged means that that killer is going to get out of jail, and he has a chance to sue because of what happened. So I can't imagine that this case is done. Obviously Benny is found innocent, so that's important, but I can't imagine this story is over. So I hope it's not just going to end on something else entirely, working for this lady, whoever she is, doing cases for her. I hope the last 2 episodes aren't just that, and that's it. I want it to be, okay, we found Benny innocent, we realized what happened, why this guy was wrongly convicted, but he still is a killer, we know that. So now are they going to have to try to do some detective work and try his trial, maybe for another murder that he might commit? maybe. So it'll be very interesting to see exactly how this is going to be handled, because I have no doubt the story's not over yet. It feels too easy. It feels like, okay, well, Benny's innocent, but the killer still is going to get out of jail most likely. But all in all, it was a good episode. It was well written. Uh, some of the stories, actually, at the beginning, I thought there were going to be several stories kind of a part of this, but it turned out to just be focused on Benny's trial, and that's it. But I really like how it opened, just Bull narrating, and he's talking about, when you dodge a bullet, you think that it's over. But ultimately, what he's trying to say is, the bullet, even though it misses you, it continues to travel, and at some point it may come back and hit you right between the eyes. And so it showed, obviously that was the main story. The guy that was responsible for framing the suspect back in the past, he said at the beginning, I thought I dodged a bullet, and so ultimately it came back and hit him right between the eyes. But we saw at the beginning, we saw Danny, she put down a stick. I can't remember what they're called, but it's the one to test whether you're pregnant or not, and it said not pregnant. So she just puts it down, and she just, like, sigh of relief. We see Cable is walking towards a restaurant. I think she was going to meet her boyfriend. I can't remember if that was her boyfriend or not, but she's going to meet somebody, and she's like, I'll be there soon. And then she goes, and the guy's in there, and he's having an argument with another woman. And so she leaves without saying anything. And then we see Chunk go outside of somebody's apartment, and it's like he's waiting for whoever it is. And then he looks and sees that he's parked at a handicapped spot, and he sees a cop coming. And so instead of going to, like, check on him or anything, he just buckles his seatbelt and leaves. So, yeah, I don't know what any of those stories mean. I assume we'll get more information probably in the next couple episodes. But I do find that very interesting, just to kind of show, we don't really need to know exactly what's going on, but we do know that, it has to tie into this idea of dodging a bullet, because that's the narration going over top of it. Anytime they show kind of a story and they manage to give us enough information without really saying or explaining it, I always enjoy that, and they did that this time as well. So I hope we get more information there. I hope we get more on this story about this murderer and whether or not he's going to get convicted or if he's going to end up getting out of prison. But all in all, I mean, it was a fairly good episode. I'm looking forward to seeing how the season's going to end. So let me know what you guys think down in the comment section below. What were your thoughts on this episode? Let me know. We can talk about and discuss all that good stuff. Leave a like and subscribe for future Bull reviews, and I'll see you at the next one. Peace out.